I think once I decided to actually make permanent changes to my body, I was dedicated to not changing my mind. I knew that there was gonna be certain things that would be irreversible, but I had sort of mentally trained myself to see that as a great thing. Like, my voice will never go back. Good, awesome, I never want it to.
That is the story of Daisy, one of many stories told by an incredible series of mini documentaries known as Identity Crisis, presented by the Independent Women's Forum. And joining us right now is, the visionary behind it, Senior Policy Analyst Kelsey Bolar. Kelsey, thank you so much, and thanks for creating this really important series of, I'm calling them mini docs. Is that appropriate?
That's accurate, and thank you for having me on your new show. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. What I love about this, and listen, there are a few competing documentaries out there that take on this issue, and good. We need as many voices as we can. What I love what you've done, along with Independent Women's Forum, with Identity Crisis, is these are human stories. This is not a debate over policy necessarily. That happens as a result of the stories you're telling, but you're telling the story of people like Daisy. So thank you for that, because I think that gets lost sometimes in these discussions.
Absolutely. I think critics of gender ideology often have a hard time personalizing this issue. We know the left will say, well, accuse conservatives. Schools aren't really socially transitioning children behind parents' back in secret without their permission or knowledge. That's not really happening. Well, now we have very brave mothers who went on camera to actually share their story of not only that happening, but a series of other betrayals that they faced due to the push to socially and medically transition children. Yeah. And what's pretty astonishing is essentially this is what we're doing. We're just telling people's stories, as you stated. That seems like it should be harmless, right? Well, according to big tech, it's not. They've actually been censoring and suppressing this video series by not letting us advertise and promote it.
It's atrocious, and that's why we wanted to try to shine a light on it and get people to check it out. It's at Independent Women's Forum at the website. In fact, is it IW? You go ahead and give the website. You're better at it.
IWF.org. You'll see it right on our homepage.
Great. It's Identity Crisis, and it's a series of stories. And I want to stick with Daisy for a moment. I do want to get into one of the moms you feature as well. But Daisy is a young woman who, as a teenager, was convinced, and she convinced herself, that she was actually meant to be a boy. And she went through some radical medical procedures to that end, didn't she?
Yes, not only did Daisy take testosterone, she also surgically removed her breasts. And when she was embarking on this journey, she told doctors and therapists who, didn't give her much time to actually discuss why she might be feeling this way. She told them, well, I don't want kids when I'm older because I'm a boy, so I'll just adopt or I'll do surrogacy. And what she realized just a year after surgically removing her breasts was that actually bearing her own children, getting pregnant, was something inherently important to her. It was something she deeply yearned for. She ended up meeting the love of her life and getting married. And she realized, yes, she actually did want children. And at this point, she didn't know if she had permanently sterilized herself. And that ended up being her biggest fear. And my biggest fear is that this is happening all across the country, not just to girls in their teenage years and their 20s, but we have medical professionals now enabling very young children to go on puberty blockers, to go on cross-sex hormones. And these substances do have lifelong implications for children, including potentially sterilizing them. Yeah. It sews them into the medical industrial complex. And people think, using the correct pronouns is the nice thing to do. But what Americans need to understand is that there's a medical harm that comes with that, because as soon as you socially transition a child, you put them on a path to lifelong doctor's appointments. No parent wants that for their child.
Yeah, amen to that. And listen, when I was 18, 19, I didn't want to have kids either. In fact, she figured it out when she was 20. I didn't figure it out until I was about 23, 24, and now I've got 4 kids. Thank God. Can you imagine making a permanent decision like that? A child can't get a tattoo. until they're an adult because it's so permanent. And even that most people end up regretting. All right, I want to get to one of these moms here. This is a heart-wrenching story of a mother out of Chicago who actually lost custody of her own child. Watch.
I see that my child is at sea in a boat. She is struggling. She is in kind of tumultuous seas. I know that. I have seen that. And what I have been told is to follow her lead, to follow her in this journey. I am not willing to do that. I don't think that is good parenting. It's my responsibility not to hook my boat to hers. It is my responsibility to be a lighthouse, to be something stable that she can see.
This one hit me the hardest, Kelsey. That's Jeanette Cooper, what a warrior she is. And you think about it, any other malady or situation that our children might get into, whether it's drug use or addiction or running with a bad crowd who might be involved in a criminal element or anorexia nervosa or any of these other things, we as parents would never have said, oh, well, just follow your child's lead, let them explore this. And yet that's what we're constantly told with this issue.
Absolutely. That was Jeanette Cooper, a mother from Chicago, explaining why she has chosen to make the decision to stand firm and not lie to her daughter, not give in to the lie that her daughter can actually be a boy. And because of that, she has paid the ultimate price. A family court has physically separated her from her daughter. Prior to her daughter claiming she was transgender, Jeanette, who was divorced, had custody of her daughter 6 nights, 7 days a week. They shared a very close relationship. She is nothing but a deeply loving mother. She simply disagreed with what all these institutions surrounding her wanted her to believe about her daughter's identity. And, I think her story, in some ways, it's hard to believe, but it's important to understand this is the natural conclusion to this movement, to physically separate a loving mother from her daughter. Jeanette Cooper has not been able to see her daughter for over 3 years. She can only communicate with her by postal mail. A court investigated whether there was any evidence of abuse or neglect. It absolutely found none. It simply discovered that Jeanette does not have an understanding of her child's gender identity. Of course, Jeanette has an understanding of her child's gender identity. It is just not the understanding that the courts, this political correct culture, wants her to have. And as a result, she lives less than 10 minutes away from her daughter, but can't see her.
I can't recommend this series of mini documentaries enough. It's at IWF.org. It's Independent Women's Forum. It's called Identity Crisis. Are there 6 altogether now, Kelsey, so far?
Yes, we're still in the process of releasing them about every 2 weeks, so stay tuned. It's mostly featuring mothers whose daughters fell victim to this movement and also detransitioners.
It's so valuable and so critically important. And again, I want to emphasize this: these are human stories. These are human beings. These are our sisters and our brothers who are going through this. We love them. We have compassion for them. This isn't just a political argument or debate that we're having. These are our brothers and sisters, and we got to be there for them. Kelsey Bolar, we're going to have you back as this continues to roll out, and we'll feature them even more. In the meantime, we're out of time, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
More to come on O'Connor Tonight.